So, ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we are going to look at the concept of matter. So, what is matter? Matter is anything that has weight and occupy space. Matter is anything that has weight and occupy space, and that is matter. And of course, we have different state of matter. We have different state of matter, which include solids, liquids, and gas. And this matter is of two types. We have two types of matter. We have pure substances and we have mixtures. So pure substances and mixtures are the two types of matter. They are the two types of matter. So we have mixture and pure substances that are two types of matter. And one can change to another through a physical method. Like for example, if you have pure substances and you combine them together, they will give you what you call a mixture through a physical method. Like for example, you can have pure salt, you can have pure water, you can have pure salt, you can have pure water, but when you mixed these two things together, they will give us what you call a mixture. They will give us the mixture. So it means that pure substances can be combined to form a mixture, and the mixtures can also be separated back to give the pure substances by separating the individual component of the mixture using the various separation techniques. So it means that you can have pure substances, you can mix them together to give you a mixtures, and the mixtures at the same time, if you want to get it back to the pure substances, then you now use separation techniques. So we're separating the individual component using separation techniques. Using separation techniques, you can obtain the individual pure substances. And of course, through a process by preparing a mixture, like when you have salts and you now add it with pure water, then it will give us what you call solution. And solution is a typical example of a mixture. It's an example of a mixture. And of course, the mixtures can get back to their original pure substances using separate component by dividing the component of the mixture. And of course, these pure substances is divided into two. The pure substances are divided into two. We have element and compound. And what are elements? An element is a substance, that cannot be divided, into two or more simpler units. So an element is a substance that cannot be divided into two or more simpler units. Which means that if this is an oxygen, so by using it cannot be divided by a chemical means. So when we say an element is a substance that cannot be divided into two or more simpler units by any chemical means. So it means that by using chemical means, the element can neither be divided into two or more simpler units using the chemical means or by chemical means. It means that if this is sodium, so sodium cannot be divided into two. And if you have aluminum cannot be divided into two. So that is what you call an element. And of course, currently now, with a lot of the discoveries, we have about 118 elements. We have 118 elements. And out of this 118 elements, 90 are natural. 90 are natural, while the remaining 28 are artificial. Are artificial. When we say they are artificial, it means that they are made in the laboratory, are the scientists that made them in the laboratory. Like mendelevium is an element that was discovered by Dmitry Mendeleev. So 90 of these elements are natural. They are the naturally occurring element, while 28 are artificial. And of course, these elements they are classified on different bases. There are elements, there are metal, there are non-metal, and there are metalloid. And with time, we are going to look at them very closely. So that is an element, and of course, we have a compound. So what is a compound? A compound is when you have two or more elements. It's when you have two or more elements that are chemically combined. So when you have two elements that are chemically combined, is what you call a compound. Like for example, we can have sodium to react with chlorine to get sodium chloride. And of course, we can also get like hydrogen plus oxygen to get water. So a pure substance are divided into elements and compounds. And of course, even within the compounds are divided into different types. We have different types of compounds. We can have what you call binary compound. We can have binary compounds. In fact, we can even have trinary compounds. And we can also have polynomial compounds. So when we said binary compound, it means that they are compounds that contain only two elements. And of course, when you say trinary compounds, they are the compound that contain three elements. So they contain three elements, and that is compound. So binary compounds, they have only two elements, and trinary compounds, they have three elements. And then we have mixtures. So mixtures are divided into two. We have heterogeneous mixture and we have homogeneous mixture. And what is heterogeneous mixture? Heterogeneous mixture is a type of mixture in which the component of the mixtures can clearly be seen with the naked eyes. Like for example, if you now have chalk plus water. So generally, in most cases, in the case of this heterogeneous mixtures, we usually have suspension. That is when you have insoluble solid. That is the solid that cannot be dissolved in water. So chalk is an example of insoluble solid, and you have water. So when you have water and chalk, you will have what you call heterogeneous compound, because heterogeneous mixtures are mixtures that you can see each and every component of that mixtures with your naked eye. You can clearly see them. Like for example, if you have sugar and sand, if you mix them together, you can clearly see the sand and you can also clearly see the sugar. So these types of mixtures is a type of mixture in which the component of the mixtures can clearly be seen with the naked eyes. And of course, we have, so as I said, in the case of heterogeneous compound, we usually have suspension, because the component of the mixtures cannot form a single phase. You can clearly see them with the naked eyes. And of course, for the homogeneous mixtures, is a type of mixtures in which each of the component of the mixtures cannot be seen with the naked eyes. Each and every component of the mixtures cannot be seen with the naked eyes. So these are the two types of matter, pure substances and mixtures, and one can change to another depending on the condition. So now the next thing that we are going to look at is change of states. It's a change of state of the substance. It's a change of state of substances. So generally, we have different state of matter. We have solid, we have liquid, we have gas, and we have plasma. So if you have solids, solid substances, if you have solid substances, it can be easily changed from that solid state to, it can easily be changed from that solid state to liquid state. It can easily change from solid to liquid, or maybe from liquid to gas, or from gas to liquid. So now let's look at the process and the steps that are involved in doing that. And the steps that are involved in doing that. So now, for example, if we have solids and a solid change to gas, if we have solids and the solid change to gas, the process is called sublimation. So whenever you have a gaseous substances and the gaseous substances change directly from gas to solid, we call it deposition, and from solid to gas, we call it sublimation. So we have example of substances that can undergo this sublimation, like for example, we have something like naphthalene, we have something like naphthalene, sulfur, and iodine, So these are the naphthalene, sulfur, and iodine are the examples of the substances that can easily change from solid to gas. So we have that, and of course, when you have solid, so solid can change to liquid through melting. So if you have ice and the ice is melted, then it will now change from solid to liquid. So the process in which a solid substances change itself to liquid is called melting point. And of course, from liquid to gas is called vaporization. And from gas to plasma is called ionization. It means that all the gaseous substances can undergo ionization. They will form ion. And of course, the plasma to gas is deionization. And from gas to liquid is called condensation. And from liquid to solid is called freezing. Yeah. And from gas to solid is called deposition. So generally, the enthalpy of the system is usually increases from solid to plasma. So this is actually the change of state. So one state of matter can change to another state using different process. And usually this changes is due to the changes in the force of attraction that holds the particles together. It's due to the force that holds the particles together. So that is why in most cases what usually happens, the change of substances from one state to another is due to temperature differences. So as you increase the temperature, of course, the force of attraction between the molecules will be decreased because the temperature will be broken or will be breaking the bonding. It will be weakening the bonding. So as a result of that, the particles that holds the solids together will start dissociating themselves due to the breaking down of force of attraction. And as a result of that, the solid particles will change to liquid. And as you increase the heating, of course, a little force that is there in the liquids will also be breaking down. And from there, you will have gas. And of course, the gas molecules, they are far apart from one another and they can easily move freely. So that is actually the change in state of matter. So the next thing is the properties of these three states of matter. So in terms of shape, solid molecules have definite shape, but liquids do not have shape. But it takes the shape of the container. Assuming now you put water inside a beaker, so it means that the shape of that water is the same thing with the shape of the beaker. If you put the water inside a cup, it means that the shape of water is the same with that of the cup. And of course, for the gas, it also doesn't have definite shape, but rather it also takes the shape of the container. And volume, in the case of solids, they have defined volume, and of course, liquid, that doesn't have defined volume, and no fixed volume for gas. And then particles arrangement. So in terms of particle arrangement, the solid, they are tightly packed together due to strong force of attraction. And then for that of the liquid particles, their force of attraction is not, or the arrangement of particles is not that very close like in the case of solid. And in the case of gas, the particles, they are far apart. So I think we need to understand this. So in the case of solids, particles are tightly packed together. So since they are tightly packed, it means that their movement will be very difficult. And that is why the solid particles have the least kinetic energy, and then followed by the liquid particles. And the one with the highest kinetic energy, is the gaseous molecule. So that is why there is a relationship between temperature and the kinetic energy. So the more you increase the temperature of a reacting system, or the more you increase the temperature of a system, the higher the kinetic energy. So that is why as you are increasing the temperature in a solid form, then the kinetic energy of the molecules will be increased due to the breaking down of the force of attraction between the acting particles. And then the next thing is particle motion. So in terms of the motion, the solid is only vibrating because they are tightly packed. They are tightly packed with the force of attraction. And then for the liquids, it's flowing and sliding past each other. And then for the gaseous, the motion of the gaseous molecules is very, very rapid. It's very rapid, so they can easily move apart. And then the next thing is example. So we have ice, we have wood, we have stone, we have water, oil, milk, air, oxygen, and nitrogen. So these are the examples of the three state of matter. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. If this is the first time you're coming to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. If this is the first time you are coming to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.